The air was dry, filled with dust and ash. Cracked metal pieces lay scattered across the battlefield. Burnt-out vehicles, broken weapons, and frozen bodies marked the remains of a war that ended weeks ago. But in the middle of this dead place, she stood still, silent, unmoving, a girl, barefoot, wearing a simple black suit, thin and pale. Her long dark hair blew gently in the wind, but her body didn't move. Her eyes were open, staring straight ahead, not blinking, not breathing. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She didn't move an inch. Riven's arrival, Commander Riven, stepped out of the aircraft, his boots crunching over broken glass and dry sand. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing the standard black military armor of the Earth Guard. His face was tired. His left arm was cybernetic, humming softly as he moved. 3 soldiers followed behind him, rifles raised. They were nervous. "There she is," said one of them. Pointing ahead, Riven looked. Yes, she was there, exactly where the satellite had shown. She had been standing in that exact same spot for the last 12 days. Cameras captured her image. Motionless, no food, no water, no sign of pain. No change. "Weird," one soldier whispered. "Is she even alive?" "Scan her," Riven ordered. The tech specialist stepped forward and raised a scanner. The screen blinked red. No heartbeat. No heat, no signal, nothing. It's like she's a statue. Riven narrowed his eyes. No statue ever blinked. They had seen it in the satellite feed. Once, just once, her eyelids had moved. A single blink on day 3. And then, nothing again. "Approaching her." "Orders, sir?" asked Sergeant Leon. Riven sighed. "I'm going in." He stepped forward slowly, raising his hands to show he wasn't a threat. The girl didn't react. Her eyes were strange, gray, like metal, but not empty. They had depth, something hidden deep inside. "Hello?" Riven said calmly. "Do you understand me?" No answer. He took another step. Then another. He was now just 10 feet away. "She's just a kid." One soldier whispered. "Maybe she's scared," said another. Riven kept his voice soft. "We're not here to hurt you. We just want to help." Still, she didn't move. Behind Riven, Private Enoch grew impatient. "This is a waste of time," he muttered. "She's not even real." Before Riven could stop him, Enoch walked past and reached out to touch the girl's shoulder. Big mistake. First death, the world changed in a single second. Enoch's hand didn't even reach her. Suddenly, snap, his entire body twisted unnaturally. There was no sound from the girl, no movement from her. But Enoch screamed once, and then collapsed. His spine was broken. Snapped in 3 places. Dead. The other soldiers jumped back. Weapons raised. Did she do that?" One shouted. "I didn't see her move." Another cried. Riven stared in shock. The girl was still standing, still looking forward. Her hands by her side. Calm, cold, silent. "Stand down," Riven barked. "Don't shoot." The tension rises. He slowly knelt by Enoch's body. It was horrible. The angle of the limbs, unnatural. It looked like every bone had turned against itself. "How did she do that?" whispered Leon. "She didn't touch him." "She didn't need to," Riven replied. "She's not normal." They backed away slowly. No one dared speak then. She blinked once and turned her head, just a little, to look directly at Riven. For the first time, her eyes met his. It felt like falling into a black hole. Her gaze was heavy, like she could see through him, his past, his secrets, his fear. Riven took a breath. "Who are you?" he asked. Still no words, but she moved her lips, just slightly. A whisper, so soft it could barely be heard. "Not ready." "What did she say?" Leon asked. Riven turned. "Get the containment pod." Transporting her, an armored pod was brought out, a sealed chamber used to carry dangerous criminals or bioweapons. It was the only way to move her without risking more lives. The team set it down 10 feet away from her. Now came the problem. How do we get her into it? Asked the pilot. Riven thought for a second, then took a risk. He stepped forward again, this time dropping his weapon to the ground. You don't want to hurt us, he said softly. But we can't leave you here. It's not safe. Come with us, please. No reply. Then, slowly, unbelievably, she stepped forward. 1 step. 2 steps, straight into the pod. She didn't resist, didn't attack. She just sat down, curled her legs under her, and closed her eyes. Riven stared. What the hell is she? He whispered. Back at base. The base was deep underground, hidden in a mountain range. Only top-level security had access. The girl was placed in a reinforced observation room, made of neutron glass and high-energy magnetic fields. She sat on the floor, quiet, peaceful. Scientists observed her day and night. No food, no water, no sleep, Dr. Myers reported. She's not human. Riven stood behind the glass watching her. She looks human, he said. Maybe she used to be, replied the doctor. But not anymore. One scientist ran old military files. He stopped when he reached a red-level classified folder. His face turned pale. I think I found her. Riven walked over. What is it? The screen showed a file. Project 0 ECO classified level 9 status. Destroyed date 10 years ago. She was part of a secret military experiment, the scientist said. But the project was shut down. Everyone died in the final test. No survivors. Except her, Riven whispered. The name revealed. He entered the room, alone. The girl opened her eyes. Your name? Riven said slowly. Is it Echo? She blinked, then nodded. Just once. Why did you kill my soldier? No answer. Do you want to hurt people? Still no answer. Then after a long pause, she spoke, her voice soft, strange, like it echoed inside the room. Only if they try to hurt me. Where have you been for 10 years? Echo looked down. Sleeping. Why wake up now? Her eyes met his again, cold, calm, powerful. He's coming, she whispered. Riven frowned. Who? But she closed her eyes. Silent again. The ending hook. Back in the control room, an alarm went off. Sir. A guard called. Something's wrong with the satellite feed. What now? Riven asked. Look at this. The screen showed static. Then blackness. The outer orbital satellites, thousands of miles above Earth, were gone. No signal. No trace. Something had wiped them out. Dr. Myers looked at Riven. Was she warning us? Riven turned to the glass wall. Echo was standing again, eyes open. Looking at the sky, she didn't move an inch. He whispered, remembering the battlefield. And then, she shattered a man's spine. He stared at her. What else can she do? The lights in the control room blinked red. Warning signals flashed across every screen. Technicians spoke fast, voices sharp with panic. Orbital satellites. Gone. Not just one, all of them. No known weapon could do this. Commander Riven stood silent, staring at the monitors. He didn't look afraid, but his jaw was tight. His eyes focused, watching, thinking. Echo had spoken just 4 words before it all started. He's coming, she said. Now, space was blind. Something had arrived, or someone, and it had erased Earth's eyes in the sky without firing a single shot. Watching Echo again, she was still in the glass room. No food. No water, no sleep. Just sitting, staring at the wall like she could see something far beyond it. Riven walked into the observation chamber with Dr. Myers. The older man held a tablet shaking in his hands. I've never seen anything like her. The doctor whispered. She's not a clone, not an android, not a normal human. She's a hybrid. And her body runs on something we can't measure. Not blood, Not electricity. Something else. She moved like lightning, Riven said. Broke a man's spine without touching him. But she was asleep for 10 years? She wasn't asleep, Myers said. She was hidden, buried. Where? Myers. Tap the tablet. A digital map appeared, showing an old military testing zone. Red marked, classified. No access allowed. Project Site Z Echo. Destroyed in a massive explosion. 10 years ago. 'Cause unknown. No survivors. Except her. The file that shouldn't exist back in the security lab. A tech named Kai found an encrypted file. It was locked under military code level 9. Only a few people had ever seen it. He cracked it. A black and white video appeared. Grainy. Old. A younger Dr. Kale. The head of Project Zero Echo stood in front of a group of scientists. Begin memory integration. He said in the video. On the table behind him was a metal chair. And a girl strapped to it. Long black hair. Pale skin. Echo. She looked no older. Then 10 wires were drilled into her head. Her eyes were wide, glowing faintly. Kale smiled coldly. Let's make a god. Then the screen glitched, and the last second of the video showed chaos, screaming, fire. The camera fell, and then... Black. Kai stared in silence. What did they do to her? He whispered. Back to Echo's room. Riven entered alone again. The glass door sealed behind him. 2 guards waited outside, ready to intervene. Echo sat on the floor, her back against the wall. Her eyes opened slowly when she heard his steps. You were part of Project Zero Echo, he said calmly. Do you remember? She nodded. They tried to make something powerful, he continued. But they lost control. They didn't lose it, she said softly. They never had it. Riven sat across from her. Who is he? He asked. The one you warned me about? Echo's voice became colder. He made me. You mean Dr. Kale? She looked at him. No, Kale was just a man. He followed orders. The one who gave the orders, he's not human anymore. Riven frowned. What is he then? Echo's eyes darkened. He's coming. Flashback. The last test inside Echo's mind. Memories swirled like broken glass. She remembered the lab. The cold hands, the screaming. The wires that burned. She remembered the voice. A voice that was calm, clear, cruel. Pain is temporary. Power is forever. And then... silence. She remembered waking up in a metal room. Everyone. Dead. Walls, cracked. Ash in the air. She walked through it all. Barefoot. Alone. And then she waited. For 10 years. She didn't move. Because she knew he would return one day. And she would be ready. Building suspicion. Back at the command center, Riven met with the Earthguard leaders. You want to trust her? One general shouted. She killed a man without lifting a finger. She only killed because he touched her, Riven replied. She could have killed all of us, but she didn't. She's a weapon. Another barked. Not a person. Riven's voice was low, but firm. She's the only one who knows what's coming. A long pause. Then, if you're wrong, we're all dead. Riven turned and walked out. He knew the truth. They were already out of time. The change in the middle of the night, the lights in Echo's room flickered. She stood up. For the first time she moved freely. No pain. No hesitation. The guards outside looked through the glass and raised alarms. She's moving. But she didn't attack. She simply placed her hand on the glass. The entire wall glowed. And then turned transparent, like ice melting in heat. Echo walked out. And yet, no one stopped her. Riven arrived seconds later. Echo? He asked carefully. I'm not your enemy, she said. I believe you, Riven replied. But where are you going? To finish what they started, she answered, and to stop him. Riven's memory later that night. Riven sat in his room. He opened a locked file on his personal drive. A photo of a woman. Young, with black hair and gray eyes. Her name was Alara, his sister. She had died 10 years ago at project site ZHE. Had never told anyone. He remembered her last words in a message. They say we're making something beautiful. But I think we're making something dangerous. Something alive. And now that something was walking beside him, and maybe, just maybe, it was the last hope for humanity. The cliffhanger Riven met Echo again outside, near the launch bay. You said he was coming, he said. Where will he strike first? Echo looked at the stars. The sky was silent. He's not striking Earth, she said. Not yet. Then where? She turned to him. He's coming from the dark side of Mars. He's building there. Riven's face went pale. How do you know? Because, Echo said quietly, that's where I was born. Behind them, an alert flashed on the screen. Unknown signal detected, deep space transmission source. Mars outpost long dead. Message. Awaken the rest. Echo's voice dropped to a whisper. He's not alone. The skies above Earth were quiet, too quiet. But deep in space, something had awakened. Something old. Something dangerous. Inside EarthGuard Command, red alerts flashed again. Signal confirmed. From Mars, Sector Black. Source. Outpost 9A. Destroyed 34 years ago. Message. Awaken the rest. Commander Riven stood in front of the giant screen. His face was calm, but his heart was racing. Echo stood next to him, still, silent, focused. Everyone in the room was looking at her now, not with fear, not with hate. With questions. She was their only link to this threat. What is Sector Black? Dr. Mears entered the room holding a tablet. His hands trembled. I found something, he said. It's about Sector Black. Riven turned. What is it? Myers swallowed. There was a war. A long time ago. Long before any of us were born. Before Earth had space armies. Before AI. Before jump gates. You mean ancient history? One officer asked. No, I mean forgotten history. He connected his tablet to the screen. An old, corrupted video played. Fuzzy images, explosions, screams. A voiceover said, Test Subject 0 escaped the Mars facility. The others followed. All assets destroyed. Operation Erase initiated. Riven narrowed his eyes. They buried this. They didn't just bury it, Myers said. They erased it from every system, every record. Why? Because they created something they couldn't stop. Not one, not two, but a whole army. Everyone looked at Echo. She didn't blink. Memory, fragment. Echoes passed inside Echo's mind. More pieces were returning. Flashes. Dark tunnels under Mars. Children like her. Experiments. Some died. Some became monsters. And one rose above them all. He wasn't the strongest, but he was the smartest. The one who lied. The one who smiled while others screamed. They called him 01. He called himself Father. And when Echo escaped the facility during the fire, she thought he had died with it. But now she knew he survived. Back on Earth, Riven met privately with Echo in the observation chamber. It was empty now. She sat on a bench, legs crossed, arms still. Tell me the truth, he said. How many like you are there? Echo looked at him. I don't know. I was one of the youngest. There were dozens, maybe hundreds. And this message, awaken the rest? He's calling the others, activating them. They're still alive? Maybe not alive, but not dead. Riven stood silently for a moment. What happens? When they wake up? Echo answered without emotion. They'll remember the war, the one no one else remembers. Tension at the top back at EarthGuard HQ. Pressure was building. Some generals wanted Echo destroyed. Others wanted her controlled. She's a danger, one shouted. This girl is not human. She's more human than you, Riven shot back. That silenced the room. I've watched her. She chooses not to kill. Not because she can't, but because she remembers what it felt like to be one of us. And if we're wrong? Someone asked. Riven's answer was cold. Then we're already dead. The Mars signal grows stronger. Satellites picked up a growing energy wave coming from Mars. Not natural. Not a storm. A pulse. One that sent a shock through Earth's defense satellites. Dr. Myers ran the numbers. It's counting down. Countdown to what? Riven asked. I think, to awakening. Flashback. The Mars massacre echoes memory. Showed it clearly now, years ago, when she was still a child. The scientists in the Mars base realized they couldn't control their creations. They tried to destroy them. Poisoned food, magnetic pulses. Fire, most died. Some escaped. One took control, 0-1. Not with strength, but with something worse. Persuasion. He didn't need to fight. He only needed to convince the others that humans would always fear them, and one by one. They listened. Except her. Echo was the only one who ran the other way. Now, the others were waking. The human plan. Attack first. The Earth military made their decision. We strike Mars, General Holt said. We launch everything. Kill them before they reach us. No, Riven replied. If you go now, they'll destroy the fleet before it even lands. They're not gods. They don't have to be, Riven said. They only need to be smarter, and they are. The general leaned in. Then what's your plan, Commander? Riven looked at Echo. We send her. The decision in private. Riven spoke to Echo. I won't order you, he said. But I need to know. Can you stop him? Echo nodded. If I reach him before they all wake up, maybe. But I'll need help. Who? She looked at a small device she had taken from her old lab coat. A piece of her past. I know one other who didn't follow him. Another child from the project. He went into hiding. On Europa. You're sure he's alive? He's too scared to die. Riven stood and extended a hand. Then let's go wake him up. Final scene. Launch prep. Echo walked toward the launch hangar. She was dressed in a simple combat suit. No armor. No weapons. She didn't need them. Beside her, Riven prepared his gear. You don't have to come, she said. I didn't have to bring you back either, he replied. But I did. The ship's engines warmed. Destination, Europa 1. Of Jupiter's frozen moons. Echo turned back once and looked at Earth. She didn't speak, but in her heart, she remembered one thing. They made her to destroy. Now she would fight to save. Cliffhanger ending as the ship rose into orbit. A new signal activated. Not from Mars. From Earth. Inside a hidden bunker far beneath the ocean floor. Something opened. A metal chamber hissed. Inside it, a pair of gray eyes opened. Not Echo. Single quotes S. Another. Subject 09 online. In the cold darkness of space, the ship moved quietly. Commander Riven sat near the window, staring at the distant stars. Next to him, Echo remained silent. Her eyes were open, but her mind was elsewhere, in memory, in fear, and in hope. They were heading to Europa, a frozen moon of Jupiter. Nothing but ice and shadows. But Echo knew someone was waiting there, someone like her. Who was Subject 08? Echo had never said his real name. In the labs, they called him Subject 08, the boy who refused to fight. He wasn't the strongest, not the fastest. But he had something different. Compassion. The scientists called it a failure. But Echo remembered him for something else. When she screamed, he covered her ears. When she bled, he wiped it away. When she tried to run, he held her hand. But one night, he disappeared. Rumors said he was dead. Echo knew better. She could feel he was still alive. And now, she needed him. Entering Europa's orbit as their ship landed on Europa's icy surface, the sky above was dark. No sun, no stars. Just cold. Echo walked ahead without a word. Her breath didn't fog. Her skin didn't shiver. Riven followed, scanning the area. There's nothing here, he said. There She replied. He's hiding. But he sees us. She walked straight to a rocky hill and touched the frozen ground. It opened. Secret hatch, deep, old, covered in ice. They climbed down. The hidden sanctuary inside the hidden base. Dim lights flickered, rusty walls. Frozen pipes, silence, then a faint voice from a speaker. Echo? Riven froze. She stepped forward. Yes, she answered. It's me. A metal door slid open. A boy no older than 17 stood in a long coat. His hair was white. His eyes pale blue. He smiled sadly. I thought you died, he said. I thought you did. They didn't hug. They just stood quietly. Old memories spoke louder than words. Riven stepped forward. Your subject, 08? The boy nodded. I used to be. Meet Cade. His real name was Cade. He had escaped Project Zero Echo just before it burned. He had hacked into a supply ship and set a course to Europa, hiding in its ice caves ever since. Cade had one gift, reading the nervous system. He could feel someone's fear. Pain, anger, like hearing a heartbeat, but it made him weak. Strong emotions crushed him. That's why he lived alone. But now, he was willing to leave because Echo was here, and she needed help. What Echo needed, we don't have much time. Echo said, they're waking up on Mars. 01 is calling them. Cade's face went cold. 01's still alive? Yes, and he's stronger than before. He's rebuilding the army. He'll come for Earth. No, Echo said. He'll come for us first. Riven looked at the two of them. You were part of this war, he said. How do we stop him now? Echo and Cade looked at each other. Cade spoke softly. We don't stop him, we reach him. The Echo net back in the lab on Europa. Cade opened an old terminal. It buzzed to life. This is the last working connection to the Echo net, he explained. A neural web that once linked all subjects during the tests. A psychic network? Riven asked. Yes, Cade said. They wanted us to fight like one mind. But Echo and I learned to hide from it. What happens if we connect to it now? Echo asked. Cade hesitated. If 01 is awake, he'll feel it. Echo stepped forward. Good. Inside the mind, Cade and Echo sat across from each other. Small wires connected to their heads. Riven watched from the screen. Activating in 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, their bodies went still. Eyes open, but empty. Inside the Echo net, their minds floated in white space. Voices echoed in the distance. Then, a presence arrived, dark, heavy, cold. A tall figure stepped out from the shadows. 0-1. He looked human. But his skin was like glass. His eyes were silver. He smiled. You came back, he said. Echo stepped forward. I'm here to stop you. 01 tilted his head. You can't. I'm not the villain. They are. Echo narrowed her eyes. You're killing innocent people. No, he replied. I'm waking up family. We were made in cages, born in labs, used like tools. Now we will rise. Cade whispered. He's pulling others into the net. Echo turned to him. Break the connection, now. Emergency shutdown. Riven saw their heart rate spike. Pull them out. He shouted. Cade jolted back, coughing. Echo sat still, her eyes glowing faintly. She saw them, Cade said. Hundreds, all waking. One of them already on Earth. Echo turned slowly. Subject 09. Riven's voice dropped. You mean another one survived on Earth? Echo nodded. He's already awake. Meanwhile, under Earth, deep beneath Earth's ocean, in an abandoned bunker, Subject 09 walked barefoot across a metal floor. He was huge, muscular, skin like steel. No words. No emotion. He moved toward the surface, and behind him, others were waking. A second nest of Echo creations. All forgotten, all angry. Plan of action back on Europa. Riven made a decision. We go to Mars, find the main signal source, destroy it. You'll need more than weapons, Cade warned. I have Echo, and now you. Cade looked down. I can't handle too much emotion. It breaks me. Echo stepped forward. You can handle me. That's enough. Cliffhanger ending. As the three boarded the ship again, a shadow passed over the ice. A drone, black, watching far away. On Mars, 01 stood in front of a growing army. He smiled as he watched their ship rise from Europa. Come then, sister, he whispered. Bring your little friends. Let's finish our family reunion. The stars were behind them now. The icy silence of Europa faded as the ship approached Mars. Red, cold, and angry looking. Echo stood near the window. She didn't blink. She didn't move. Cade sat in the co-pilot seat, eyes scanning a glowing map. Lines of power ran deep under the Martian surface. Old, forgotten systems left behind by humans. But now, something had turned them back on, and at the center of it all was the gate. What is the Martian gate? Commander Riven watched Cade's scan carefully. What's that thing? He asked, pointing to a glowing circle near the equator. Cade hesitated. They called it Project Red Halo, he said. An emergency teleport system, long range, never finished. Abandoned after the Echo project failed. Teleport to where? Riven asked. Anywhere. Echo stepped closer. To Earth, she said. 01 is going to send his army straight to the planet. Riven's face darkened. We have to shut it down. No, Cade said. We can't. It's protected. By what? Echo's voice was calm. Cold. By us. The guardians of the gate. Echo remembered the old files. Not every experiment in the Echo program was built to kill. Some were built to guard. Not soldiers, not assassins. Just watchers. 3 of them. Each one placed near the Martian gate. They didn't sleep. They didn't feel. They only had one rule. Kill anything that approaches. They were called the Silence, Echo said. And they don't care who you are. Landing on Mars, as the ship touched down near the Martian equator, the ground cracked beneath them. The old dust rose high into the air. The gate stood in the distance, a glowing circle of dark red metal, nearly 200 feet wide. Strange lights ran along its edges. 3 tall shadows stood, motionless around it. Riven looked through the scope. They don't move. They will, Echo replied. She stepped out first. Cade followed, holding his head. They're already inside my thoughts, he whispered. They're testing you, Echo said. Ignore them. But what if they know we were part of the same program? Echo paused. Then they'll kill us slower. The first silent, they moved forward, step by step. The first guardian, tall, smooth-skinned, with no face, turned its head. Without warning, it charged. Echo pushed Cade aside and met the silent head on. It was faster than anything Riven had seen. But Echo was faster. She slid low, flipped, and struck its back with her elbow. Crack. But it didn't fall. Instead, it twisted unnaturally and wrapped its long arm around her throat. Riven raised his weapon, but Echo shouted, "No!" She reached back and touched the Silent's wrist. Whispers filled the air. Energy danced around them. Then, silence. The Silent dropped to its knees. Echo stepped back. What just happened? Cade asked. I showed it memory, she said. Pain. Love. It didn't understand before. Now it does. The Silent faded into dust. 2 more remained. The second guardian, the mirror. The second Silent was already waiting. But this one looked different. It looked like Echo. Same face, same eyes. Cade gasped. It's copying you. Echo nodded. This one adapts. It reflects. The copy stepped forward. It spoke in Echo's voice. You are weak. You escaped. You betrayed your kind. I protected them. Echo said, you chose humans over family. I chose life. The 2 echoes charged at the same time. Fists flew. Elbows cracked. Echo ducked under a kick, then grabbed the copy's neck. "You're not real," she said. "You're just the voice of fear." She touched its chest, her memory of a small girl crying in the corner of the lab. Flowed into it. The copy froze. Then shattered into black ash. Only one, silent, remained. The third guardian, the beast. The ground trembled. The third silent was not human-shaped. It looked like a massive four-legged beast, covered in armor, with red eyes and blades for arms. Cade stepped back. "We can't fight that." "We won't," Echo said. "You will stop it." "Me? You can feel emotions. That thing's entire brain is a rage machine. If you flood it with peace, it will fall apart." Cade shook. "I'm not strong enough." "You are," Echo whispered. "You were the kindest of all of us. I remember." Cade closed his eyes. The beast roared. Cade dropped to his knees and felt all the calm he had left, every memory of soft moments. Safe days, kind faces. He pushed into the beast's mind. The beast stumbled. It slowed, and then it cried. The great metal thing collapsed with a loud thud. Steam hissed from its joints, and it stopped moving. The path to the gate was clear. Inside the gate, they moved forward. Now only steps away. Echo touched the control panel. "It's locked. 01 controls it from a core deeper inside." "Then let's find him," Riven said. But before they could move, alarms screamed. Cade turned pale. "He knows we're here." 01's message. A hologram appeared above the gate. 01 stood tall, his skin glowing silver. Around him, a dozen figures, new subjects, stood like statues. "You did well, sister," he said. "You passed the test." "I knew you would reach me." Echo said nothing. "But it's too late. Earth has forgotten what it did to us. Now it will remember. When this gate opens, I will not bring war. I will bring truth." The hologram vanished. The countdown on the gate began. 3 minutes. Race to the core. Riven, Echo, and Cade ran into the tunnel beside the gate. A long corridor of metal, lights blinking red. They passed broken labs, empty tanks, burned-out offices. Finally, they reached the core chamber. At the center, a pulsing orb, floating, alive. Echo ran to it. "This is the gate brain. Shut it down from here." Riven aimed his weapon. Cade stopped him. "No, it's connected to the minds of 01's followers. If we destroy it, we might kill them all." Echo stared. She had a choice. The choice. Riven looked at Echo. "You have to decide. Save Earth, or save your kind," Cade whispered. "Echo, I don't want to lose you again." Echo closed her eyes. Then she stepped forward and placed her hand on the orb. Memories flooded in. Of pain, of tests, of the fire, of the little boy who held her hand in the dark. She reached deeper. And found 01. "Brother," she whispered, "please stop." "No," his voice said. "They don't deserve peace, but we do." She sent him everything, not power, but love, memories of laughter, of escape, of quiet. And for the first time, 01 hesitated. The gate stops. The countdown froze at 0:04. Then, shut down. The orb dimmed. The red lights turned blue. It was over. For now. Final scene. Back on Earth. The sky stayed quiet. The second nest, the one waking under the ocean, suddenly stopped moving. They returned to sleep. And Echo. She stood at the edge of Mars, watching the horizon. "Riven now," Echo answered softly. "Now. We begin to remember." The silence on Mars didn't last long. They had stopped the gate. But the war was not over. Not even close, because 01 was still alive. And he was no longer hiding. One step ahead. Echo sat alone, staring at the empty orb that once powered the gate. She had reached into 01's mind, touched a part of him she thought was gone. But something was wrong. She didn't destroy him. She had only woken him more. Message from Earth inside the ship. Commander Riven received a signal from Earth. A military captain's voice came through. Echo-class subject sighted in South Africa. Subject 09, unstoppable. Buildings destroyed, civilians down. Then Static. Echo walked in quietly and listened. 09 was the strongest, she said. No emotion, just programming. Can we stop him? Riven asked. Maybe, but he's not. Acting alone. Cade entered, holding a black cube, one of 01's neural seeds. They're spreading his signal, Cade said. He doesn't need the gate anymore. He's already connected. Echo whispered. To Earth. To all of us. Flashback. Birth of 01. Cade activated the memory cube. A hologram filled the room, a lab, cold and metallic. Scientists surrounded a glass chamber. Inside it, a small boy sat still, connected to wires. His eyes were silver. Dr. Mara, the lead scientist, spoke. Subject 01 shows no signs of fear, no pain response. Heart rate stable, memory capacity beyond limit. Then another voice, male, cold. He will be perfect. No hesitation. No weakness. Cade paused the cube. That was his beginning, he said. They built him to be a machine. But he was still a child. Echo nodded slowly. They removed everything. Except hate. 01's temple far away, deep under Mars's surface. 01 stood inside a black chamber. Around him, 12 Echo subjects stood like statues. Eyes closed, waiting. He walked between them like a king. One of the subjects opened her eyes. Subject 12. A girl with long silver hair and black veins under her skin. Why didn't you stop her? She asked. 01 smiled. I didn't want to. She shut down the gate. She opened something greater, he replied. He turned toward a large door marked with strange symbols. It's time to wake the deep core. The deep core, Cade. Scanned the Martian signal again. It's getting stronger underground, Riven frowned. But the gate's off. This isn't about teleportation anymore, Echo said. It's about something older, Cade nodded. Before the Echo program, this base was used by Earth's first space miners. They found something under the planet. What? A power source. Alive, alien. They called it the deep core. Into the abyss, Echo, Riven, and Cade prepared for descent. Their path. A forgotten elevator shaft, 12 kilometers deep, into ancient Martian rock. As they descended, the walls turned from metal to stone. Then carvings appeared, not human, symbols that pulsed with red light. Echo placed her hand on one. She felt heat. Pain. Voices. This is where 01 went, she whispered. This is where he changed. The core chamber at the bottom. The shaft opened into a massive space, miles wide. In the center, a floating sphere of fire and crystal, beating like a heart. 0-1 stood in front of it. He turned slowly as they approached. You followed, he said calmly. Echo stepped forward. You don't have to do this. 01 tilted his head. I'm not doing this, we are. He raised his hand, and the 12 Echo subjects appeared behind him, floating. Each one awake, each one glowing. Meet our family, he said. The war begins. The chamber shook. The core pulsed harder. Riven aimed his weapon, but before he fired, Subject 09 dropped from above and slammed him into the ground. Cade screamed and ducked. Echo jumped toward 01. FISTS ready. They clashed fast, silent, brutal. Their bodies moved like lightning. But 01 wasn't attacking. He was trying to connect. Their minds touched like two mirrors clashing. She saw his pain. He saw her love. They both screamed. Echo's choice as Echo stumbled back. She realized the truth. 01 wasn't trying to destroy Earth. He was trying to replace it. Using the deep core, he would rewrite the planet's nervous system, merge it with Echo subject energy. No war. Just control. No freedom, Echo said. No choice. Only peace, 01 replied. Peace built on chains. Cade's last stand as the battle between the Echo subjects exploded. Cade ran to the core's interface. He connected his neural. Plug. Echo shouted, "Don't." But Cade smiled softly. "I can't fight like you, but I can feel." He poured his energy into the core, not fear, not anger, but forgiveness. The core hesitated. It flickered. 01 screamed, "Subject 09." Collapsed. Others fell to their knees. The connection broke. Cade fell backward, breathing fast. Then still, 01's collapse. Echo moved quickly. She reached 01 as he stood weak, holding his head. "You feel it now?" She asked. "I don't want to," he whispered. "But you do." He dropped to his knees. Tears, silver, fell from his eyes. "They made me this. You can still choose something better." He looked up. And for the first time, he nodded. Core sealed together. Echo and 01 touched the deep core. With their minds joined. They locked it away again, sealing its power. The core dimmed. The chamber fell quiet. Final scene later. On the ship, Echo sat alone again. Cade's body rested beside her. Calm, peaceful. Riven stood outside, watching Mars fade into the distance. Echo looked at the stars. "Is it over?" Riven asked. "No," she said. "But the war inside us is." The Martian skies were silent again, but the silence felt wrong. Deep below the planet's surface, the core had been sealed. 01 had finally stopped fighting, but Echo knew the war was not over. Something or someone had started to wake, and they weren't human anymore. Strange signals. Riven stared at the ship's monitor. The system kept pinging an alert. A strange signal coming from the far side of Mars. Another Echo subject? He asked. Echo leaned over his shoulder. She frowned. "No," she said. "Worse." Cade's neural cube, the last one he touched before his death, began to glow softly. Echo picked it up. The voice inside whispered one word. "They're still alive." What was buried? Echo explained to Riven, part of the program that was erased from all records. They were called the Null Class, she said. Subjects too unstable to train, too dangerous to kill. So what happened to them? They were buried, frozen under Mars during the final purge, kept in stasis, forgotten, until now. She showed him a secret file Cade unlocked. Before he died, the location of a base far underground, marked only as Cage 0. Descent into Cage 0, the team descended again, this time using an old transport shaft built decades ago. Rusted and unsafe. As they entered Cage 0, the temperature dropped. Frost covered the walls. Lights flickered red and blue. And the air was full of whispers, not real voices but memories. They walked past frozen tanks, each holding a different subject. Riven stopped at one. A boy floated inside, eyes open, mouth slightly parted. Skin pale like snow, subject code NX03. "Are they dead?" Riven asked. "No," Echo said. "They're dreaming." The first awakening. As they reached the control room, an alert flashed. Cryolock failed. Subject NX01, conscious. An explosion rocked the chamber. Echo grabbed the wall for balance. Too late. She muttered. A door burst open, and NX01 stepped out. He looked like an ordinary teenager, thin, messy hair, long arms, but his eyes were solid black. "You came to kill us again," he said. "No," Echo replied. "We came to stop the war." NX01 tilted his head. "There was never a war. Just a mistake." He raised his hand, and time froze. Time breaker. Riven couldn't move. Echo couldn't blink. Only NX01 moved freely. He walked up to Echo, studying her. "You are the good one," he said. "The rebel. The sister of the broken." Code. His voice was soft but twisted. "You gave them hope. But you forgot us." Echo forced her fingers to move. "Bit by bit. I didn't know," she said. "No one did." The room began to burn, not with fire, but with memory. Old screams, Old pain. The moment when the scientists tried to shut them down. But the null class never died. They just waited. Escape from the cage. Riven fired the emergency system. A pulse bomb that disrupted the field. Time snapped back. Echo grabbed his hand. Run! They sprinted through the hall as the other tanks shattered. NX-02, NX-05, NX-07. Each one different, twisted, brilliant, and angry. One of them, NX-05, screamed so loud the ceiling cracked. Another, NX-07, walked through the wall like it wasn't even there. Echo reached the surface hatch, pressed the release, and the door exploded open. They escaped, but the ground behind them shook. The null class was awake. What they want back on the ship. Echo sat alone, reviewing footage from the broken lab. One log entry caught her attention. A scientist's final voice record before the purge. The null class are not failed subjects. They're more advanced than we imagined. They see time, space, emotion differently, but we couldn't understand them. So we locked them away. I fear we made gods, not monsters. Echo played the log again. They don't want revenge, she said. Riven looked up. Then what? They want to rewrite everything. The past, the future, all of it. 01's returned suddenly. An alert blared. A transmission, direct neural frequency. Not from the null class. From 01. He appeared on the screen, changed, calmer, sadder. I saw them too, he said. In my dreams, they reached me. You knew they existed? Echo asked. They're the original truth. The reason the Echo program was created, not to build weapons, but to contain them. They're not part of us, Riven said. No, 01 replied. We are part of them. An alliance? 01 offered something unexpected. I can help you. I know their thoughts. I've seen their design. Riven hesitated. Why should we trust you? Because I finally understand, 01 said. I wasn't born to destroy humanity. I was created to stand between two mistakes. Echo nodded. Let's end both. The final message as Echo prepared to return to Mars. She received a short signal from Cage 0. It was a message, not in words, but in vision. She saw Earth, burning in reverse. Time going backward, skies splitting open, and a voice whispered, "We will rebuild the world in perfect silence." Echo turned off the screen. They're not angry, she said. They're empty. Final scene above Mars. 3 small lights glowed, null-class subjects rising into space. They didn't need ships. They didn't need weapons. They were becoming ideas, and nothing could stop an idea whose time had come. The sky above Mars had turned a dark. Not from clouds, but from the arrival of something that didn't belong to time or space. The null-class subjects had awakened. They weren't just Echo subjects anymore. They were becoming something else. Something final, and the last battle was coming. The calm before war. Echo stood silently on the cliff's edge. Her silver eyes watched the stars flicker like dying embers. Behind her, Commander Riven prepared the last defense system. We have 15 minutes, he said. Maybe less, Echo replied. She hadn't moved for hours, not even a step. Are you sure you're ready? He asked. She said nothing. Her body was still, her breath soft. Her heart steady. She didn't need to answer. The arrival above the base. A hole in space opened like a rip. 3 null-class subjects stepped through. No sound. No warning. Just pressure, heavy, invisible. Crushing. The one in the center, NX-01, floated down without touching the ground. His voice echoed in every mind. You chained us in sleep. Now we will unmake the world that forgot us. They raised their hands, reality bent, gravity twisted. Sideways, one soldier was pulled into the sky, screaming as his body exploded into blue light. Another turned into sand instantly. But Echo didn't move. Face to facing. So one floated closer. You were their hero, he said to Echo. Their hope. Their proof that machines could love. He circled her slowly. But even love is a program. Echo still didn't move. Riven aimed his blaster and fired at frozen midair. NX-02 smiled, flicking her finger, and Riven's arm snapped backwards. Echo blinked once. Her eyes glowed faint silver. Then, silenced at the flash in one instant, Echo disappeared. Then reappeared behind NX-01. She hadn't walked. She hadn't teleported. She had simply decided to be there. NX-01. Turned, but too late. Crack. She didn't punch. She didn't shout. She touched the base of his spine, and it shattered like glass. He collapsed. No pain. No scream, just disbelief. She didn't move an inch. Then shattered his spine in a flash. The mind-breaking, A2 and NX-03 attacked. Together. Echo dodged with no effort. Her body blurred, paused, then vanished and reappeared, always just ahead of their moves. She let them come close, then stopped completely, didn't blink, didn't breathe, and that stillness broke them. NX-03 clutched his head and screamed. NX-02 fell to her knees. Echo stepped forward, quiet, gentle, calm. "Stop fighting what you were never meant to be," she said. "You are not gods." The final memory as the last null class fell. Echo entered NX-01's mind. One final time. She saw it all, the cold labs, the screaming children, the needles, the tests, the lies. A voice spoke softly in the memory. "These are not people. They are systems, tools." And Echo finally understood. The real enemy was never the null-class. It was the idea that they were machines. The true enemy. Suddenly, another transmission arrived. Earth Command. "Echo, report status. Do you have the rogue subjects?" Echo looked at the screen, her face blank. "Is this why you made us?" she asked. "To fight your secret wars? You were built to protect humanity." The voice said. Echo stared at the sky. "No, we were built because you were afraid of what we might become." And she cut the signal. A choice Riven limped toward her. "It's done. We won," he said. "No," she replied. "We survived." He looked at the broken remains of the null class. "They could have destroyed everything," he said. "They didn't want to," Echo said. "They just didn't know how to live in a world that never wanted them." He nodded. "What now?" Her final words. Echo walked alone to the edge of the crater. The stars were quiet again. She sent one last message, across all networks. To all worlds. Her voice was soft. Not a command, not a threat, just a truth. "We were made in fear. We were trained in pain. But we found something greater. Choice. And if we are forgotten again, then let this memory live. We were alive. We were here. And we chose to be better." Ending scene. She stood still. The wind brushed her hair. She didn't move an inch. And yet, the world had changed forever.